So, hi, welcome. Why don't you start by introducing yourself, your name, your title, and the organization that you represent?
Hey, nice to meet you. I'm Bishen Singh. I work at Microsoft. I'm an advisor and I focus on bringing Microsoft's tools and technologies to a lot of different use cases within the health and life science space. So that includes use cases within digital health, clinical health, drug development, and everything in between.
That's awesome. So, is this your first HITLAB summit? Have you been to these before in the past?
This is my second one in person,
Okay.
and maybe third or fourth in total. So it's great to be back. It's great to see familiar faces, meet new ones, hear about the trends, hear where the field is moving in general, and just stay on top of things in terms of figuring out where we can plug in, using Microsoft and Azure Cloud into other spaces and vice versa.
Yeah, that's great. So, you kind of answered my next question, but I was wondering if you could go into what keeps you coming back to the summits and maybe how do they benefit both you and your coworkers at Microsoft in addition to all the other people who come to them?
Yeah, so I think for me, it's primarily two things. One is at Microsoft, we work with a lot of different partners to go to the market and solve big problems. So here I can meet a lot of different potential partners and understand which segment of the market they serve and how we can help them and all do business together and ultimately help patients improve their lives, their quality of lives. And the other part is getting the word out there about what Microsoft does. I think a lot of people don't understand or aren't aware that Microsoft does a lot of work within the health and life science space. So part of what I do is help get that word out so that other people who may not be aware of that can then come to us and say, hey, I heard you guys do this. Let us know how you can help us, and then we take it from there.
That's awesome. So, talking about Microsoft a little bit more specifically, can you go into maybe some of the projects that you guys are working on or something in particular that you see as really exciting or a potential future prospect for the rest of the healthcare industry?
Yeah, well, one area that's really exciting for me, and I was actually talking to someone recently about this, was they're trying to understand for patients with rare diseases, if you can create specialized drugs, custom-made drugs essentially, that fit into the right receptors to fix those rare diseases. So what we can do using Azure is create models of these molecules and create models of the sensors or receptors within the body to see what fits. And using that modeling and our high-performance computer, what we call our HPC, we can make suggestions for drug developers or physicians to say, hey, test these compounds out in your labs, and maybe one of them will solve this problem. And I think that's really exciting for me because that represents a really fundamental breakthrough in terms of how we help patients. And also, it shows that we don't only care about big groups of patients, we also care about folks who are affected by conditions that are less common. And I think together, for me, it makes it really exciting to be at Microsoft, to work on problems like this, using technology with an understanding of science and everything else that goes around it to make a difference in patient lives.
That's incredible. So, kind of to a similar vein, do you have any predictions or thoughts on the development of personalized healthcare and personalizing different treatments in the future? You mentioned rare diseases, and that's so interesting. So I was wondering how you see personalizing treatments as a whole affecting the healthcare industry.
Yeah, great question. I think so. There's a couple different things here. So one is, at Microsoft, one of the more popular recently developed AI models that we're taking to market is generative AI, and a popular application of this is Azure OpenAI or ChatGPT. And so I think one way that ChatGPT or Azure OpenAI is being used to address what you're talking about is patients can come in and say, hey, this is my condition, I want to know what to do about it. And so from a literacy perspective, they can first understand what is the potential list of treatments that they should ask their physicians about. Right, so that addresses the first piece of the problem, which is, okay, what's out there for me to take advantage of? So that gives you a picture of, okay, within what I can use as personalized medicine, here's the realm of the possible. Then on the physician side, since they already know that, or they should already know that, they can say, okay, well, based on recent cases that we've seen or recent cases that the field has seen, here's what works or here's what doesn't work. And then they can take those treatments and matchmake between the patient who needs it and is asking about it and the treatment that works best for that specific patient with that specific condition. So I think overall, we're starting with a better fit, and then with the whole drug development part of it that we're supporting as well that I mentioned first, we're making it more and more personalized. So I think end to end, we're able to support a lot of the different value add that's needed to make personalized medicine a reality.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was wondering, do you think that there are any hurdles in terms of physicians being willing to adopt this kind of technology into their practices? Or do you think that's just a total stereotype that clinicians and doctors want to bring technology into their workplace and into their diagnostic process?
No, I think you're absolutely right. I
Yeah.
think one of the big challenges for physicians is having trust in the technologies that they're using. They want to know that it's secure. They want to know that patient data is confidential.
Yeah.
Patients want to know the same thing. So at Microsoft, one thing we strive to do is ensure the utmost security of our tools and all the data that's in our tools. So with that being such a high priority for us, we focus a lot on making sure, A, that we build that trust and that we have the data to back it up. We're not just talking about it, we're proving it.
Right.
And time again, our tools prove to be the best, highest secure, most secure tools in the market. So our customers often come to us for that reason in other application areas outside of health. And then we say, hey, by the way, these, our security philosophy also is applicable to the tools that we use within the health space. And then we expand our footprint that way. So I think at the end of the day, through these two mechanisms of building trust and showing that using real data that our tools are indeed the most secure, physicians are able to say, okay, this makes sense for me, that de-risks it for me. I know I'm not going to be liable later if something goes wrong because nothing's going to go wrong, we hope. And we're showing that. So at the end of the day, I think, yes, there is a trust issue, but we're solving that and we're seeing a lot of growth and we're very happy about that.
That's incredible. So I understand that you were invited here as a guest speaker. If you could give me, without spoiling anything too much, a 30-second synopsis of the topic that you're going to be speaking about and what you want the audience to take away from it.
Yeah, so I'm going to be talking about bridging the gaps between insights, interventions, and investments within the healthcare space. So I'm going to talk about how Microsoft's products address different problems in the area, some success stories that we've brought to the market recently, and also hear from our co-panelists about how they're also using data to make better decisions for the customers that they serve. And I think it turns out, let you know in a sneak preview, that some of them are already using Microsoft products for the same thing, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
So stay tuned.
All right, I will. So Bishen, thank you so much for chatting with me today and for answering all my questions. I really appreciate it. What you're working on is so inspiring and so incredible and says a lot about health tech. So thank you so much. I look forward to listening to your speech.
Thanks so much. Great to be here.
Great to meet you.